quiet of night, I whispered my plea, holding her close, hoping for her decree.
Close your eyes and imagine the back court of a morning market. Metal bins scraped together, a wet rustle of cabbage leaves, the steady, patient conversation of hands that have done this work for years. A low voice in Khmer leans close and says, "Away dinachong cry, kuchiet ngais aik." What's left becomes tomorrow. The sound is small, but it holds an entire economy.
Welcome to Ancient Echoes KH. I'm Samnang Bradley, stories carved in stone, and today, stories folded into soil. We'll meet 3 keepers who turn leftovers into livelihoods, a composter who tends community piles, a pig feeder who negotiates the border between surplus and safety, and a cooperative coordinator who keeps collection routes running and fair pay flowing. This is a Sound First episode. Listen for clinks, shovels, and murmur. Let the place hold you.
Quick note before we go deeper. When we say keepers, we mean people who practice knowledge passed down by apprenticeship and daily work. We'll describe what they do in human terms, the smells, the timing, the negotiation, but we will not offer step-by-step preservation recipes or publish collection routes or household addresses. Those details carry safety risks, and you'll find vetted resources and community contacts in the show notes instead.
Let's begin in fine, early light with the composter. I crouch under a tin awning and watch feedstock arrive in small piles. Banana stems, wilted morning greens, the fibrous heart of a jackfruit someone decided not to sell. The composter's hands are quick, sorting without fuss. She does not speak in technical terms. She speaks in signs. The warmth of a pile, the scent it gives, to color of damp leaves. She tells me, softly, how you read a heap, the way musicians read a rhythm.
From a culturally informed standpoint, what she's doing sits in a long tradition. Household and market byproducts were never just waste. They were raw material, returned to fields, fed to animals, or traded. The categories we use in development, organic, inorganic, hazardous, only partially map onto these everyday practices. What matters here are local rules: who collects, who pays, who keeps the pile, and how neighbors tolerate the smell.
She laughs when I ask how she learned. From my mother, from the other women in the courtyard, she says. Apprenticeship, not a manual. There are rhythms, rainy season feedstocks that slaw off quickly, dry season piles that need different attention. She tells a story of a turned pile, working it at dawn with a wooden shovel until the heat inside blooms like fresh tamarind. Then she stops herself. She won't give me a list of temperatures or a recipe. Instead, she offers me an image, a child touching dark, rich soil and smiling.
The practical boundary is important. We will describe sensory cues, the smell of hot versus cold piles, the feeling of texture, but we won't give procedural steps that could be misused. For listeners who want to learn best practices, we link to accredited public health and agricultural partners in the show notes. That keeps knowledge useful and safe.
Back in the yard, an apprentice arrives with a basket and asks for advice. The composter speaks gently, correcting posture, showing how to feel for moisture, how to notice when a pile needs air. The teaching is slow and rhythmic, more like passing a song than delivering a lecture. She says simply, respect the pile, respect the people who will use it. That respect extends into town agreements about odor and placement. It's community maintenance, disguised as work.
Now a different corner, the pig feeder. He waits near a low stone wall, a sack at his feet, an old motorbike with a basket. Market stalls know him. He knows their rhythms. He explains, without specifics,
how surplus becomes fodder. He talks about negotiation. I tell vendors, I will collect what you can't sell. We agree on a time. I pay what we agreed. His work is practical and sometimes precarious. He balances livelihood with the knowledge that certain practices can be risky for animal and human health.
The complexity here is cultural and regulatory. In urban Cambodia, informal animal feeding has rules, sometimes enforced, sometimes negotiated. What listeners should hear is how the feeder manages risk, refusing visibly spoiled loads, negotiating with vendors about what's acceptable, and staying attentive to animal health. Again, we do not provide preservation recipes or step-by-step techniques on the air. Instead, we explain the social protocols that keep this work going.
He tells me about seasons when demand for scraps drops, tourist lull, festival weeks, so he diversifies. He grooms a relationship with a small cooperative that helps move surplus more reliably. I ask about stigma. He shrugs and smiles, a little rueful. Some people think this work is low, but we feed families, we feed pigs, we feed fields. There's humor in his answer, a quick joke about a pig that knew more about market gossip than he did, but the pride is clear. We pause for sound, shovels, the soft grunt of an animal, a cartwheel rolling over rough stone. Take a breath with me and listen to the system at work, the small orchestration that keeps a neighborhood running.
The soundscape shows us scale and rhythm. These moments are not decorative. They teach us about time and labor. Field recording gives us access to those lessons without exposing identities or private locations. We use careful mic placement and consented recordings to preserve textures, not to expose people to curiosity or risk.
Our final keeper is the cooperative coordinator. She runs routes on a whiteboard in a dusty office, speaking with vendors and health officers in turn. She negotiates pickup times, fees, and where piles may sit. She mediates complaints about smell and about unexpected loads. Her voice is organized, patient. She tells a negotiation story where a vendor changed a pickup time at the last minute because of a wedding. We adjusted because this is how life is. And then she adds, but we also had a rule. If you change more than 3 times, you pay a small fee. It's an economy of give and take.
From a logistics perspective, cooperatives do a lot of invisible governance. They align incentives, fair pay for collectors, low burden for vendors, and protocols for odor and hygiene. They also act as a buffer between informal practice and formal inspectors. When we document these systems, we must be careful not to romanticize hazardous work. Our job is to make visible the protections people have built and the gaps that need support.
Across these portraits, there's a through line. Value is made by people who pay attention. They read texture, they negotiate trust, and they hold community rules in small gestures. I remember the composter tapping the pile and saying, "Listen to it. Listen to what the pile tells you." That line has stayed with me. The world speaks in small sounds if you know how to listen. Practical takeaway time. If you visit a market or want to support this work, ask before photographing or touring a backcourt. Never ask for household addresses or exact collection schedules. Do not request preservation or feed recipes. Donate through vetted cooperatives listed in our show notes. Tip workers fairly when a service is offered. And respect consent. People decide what they share.
We've also included links in the notes to public health partners and agricultural extension services for anyone who wants to engage responsibly. These organizations can answer technical questions safely, and many have community programs that support cooperatives and hygiene training. If you're a researcher or a practitioner, reach out through those channels rather than directly to workers.
Before we close, a note on fair representation. We paid everyone for their time, requested consent, and offered participants editorial review. Some voices requested anonymity. We honored that. That's part of ethical storytelling, making sure the people who live these lives keep control over how their stories are told. Thank you for walking these back courts with me today, listening to clinks and shovels, hearing negotiations, and the small pride of hands that turn leftovers into livelihood. If this episode moved you, consider subscribing so we can keep making episodes like this, stories that connect sound, life, and labor. For show notes, vetted cooperative links, and resources, visit our website. And as always, quiet stones, loud stories.
We'll be back with full transcripts and a short list of resources under this episode. Look for practical partners and community liaisons. If you're on social, share a favorite moment and help us lift up Khmer voices responsibly.
Oh, shining diamond, flawless and red, you stand so quiet, soft in the air. I dared not to rush you, feared you'd flee. Your heart too pure to belong to me. If you turn away, I reach and bind, press my hand, still body and mind. Your brows I trace, your breath I steal. This mark I place is dark and real. From this moment break and fall, hear the spell, obey the call. False love born from sacred lies, second one whispers through closed eyes. Follow me, don't fight, don't run, your soul is caught, my work is done. Empty will, your light undone, under spell, under Sigmund. Crystal beauty, diamond bright, caught between shadow, charm, and night. Time won't save you, truth won't last. This vow is carved, the line is cast. My words are smoke, my touch is fire. I bend your heart to dark desire.